I've been a lifelong Mac user since the beginning. I edited my first ever YouTube video on my iPod Touch using iMovie and later upgraded to what is now a 16-year-old iMac. From there, I purchased at launch the M1 Pro MacBook Pro, and as of now, I'm currently using the M3 Max MacBook Pro as my daily driver for all work-related and content-related tasks. But as I sat there reading, researching, and watching videos as I do every year about Microsoft's recent refresh to their Surface lineup, I thought to myself, I've never actually given a Windows laptop a fair chance. As right as I finished building and on the verge of pre-ordering, they reached out, offered to send me one, and give my honest thoughts. With that said, in today's video, I'll be answering one simple question. Can I be convinced? I want to be clear, I'm not being paid to say anything. Throughout this video, you will hear my real, raw, honest thoughts. Because I am fully committed to making the switch from my MacBook Pro to the Surface laptop to really experience what I've been missing out, I'm setting a challenge for myself. Not only will I be fully editing the YouTube video you are seeing on the Surface laptop, but I'll also be designing the thumbnail for the video as well. And if you're new to seeing my content, I don't necessarily care about on-paper specs. I more so care of how they actually apply to real-life use. Oh my goodness, this is so not satisfying. Okay. I want this unboxing to feel like you're the one opening it, and an initial reaction that I have is I love how the box is color matched to the actual laptop color. On the back, when it does come to specs, this is the 13-inch model with 16 gigabytes of RAM and 512 gigabytes of storage in the Ocean colorway, which is personally my favorite colorway that they announced. Let's first peel this tab. Moment of truth. Ooh, okay. This is nice. Let's just take a look at what else you get. All right, so we get some quick instructions right here. We are first greeted with a USB-C to USB-C cable, the adapter for the power brick, and the power brick itself. Okay. I'm a personal fan of the small, sleek design. This is a 45-watt charging brick. This sounds so petty, but something that has always turned me away from Windows laptops is how they pretty much give you a doorstop of a power brick. It never makes sense. The power cable comes in two separate cables, super big, bulky, and extremely inconvenient for travel purposes. That pretty much sums up the unboxing for the laptop. Another accessory Microsoft kindly just included with this is the Microsoft Surface Arc Mouse. Now, to compare this, something that just instantly hits the top of my mind is Apple's Magic Mouse, which is by far their worst piece of innovation, and I've always ended up resulting towards the Logitech MX Master 3S. So I'm curious. Let's see how this stacks up. All right. Sleek and minimal. Ooh! It's got a nice snapping feel. Obviously, this is the mouse, but if you bend it like this, it kind of rests into more a natural grip, which I'm a fan of. Put it back into the normal position, slide it into a pocket or whatever, and take it with you. I do think this is battery powered, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, not a huge fan of the AAA batteries. I do wish they included some sort of USB-C charging, but I kind of understand why they did it because this is such a slim profile. Does this pass the one finger lift test? That's the most important thing. Ready? Okay, it does. Good sign. Initial impressions, I am a huge fan of the design. It's very MacBook-like. Again, that's all I know, so that's what I'm going to be comparing it to. Very nice rounded corners. I am used to the Pro models, which are heavier, so for this to be an Air competitor, it is something I'm not used to the overall lightness. I like it. For reference, this is the smallest size in the Surface laptop lineup. For those curious, this base starts at $899, and the M4 MacBook Air base starts at $999. I'm not completely unfamiliar with the Windows operating system. As you can see, I have a pre-built PC behind me, but that main focus has always been for gaming and streaming, and my MacBook's main focus has always been on video editing and content-related workflow things. Some of the upsides I am used to on my MacBook that I will be losing with the Surface laptop are iMessage, FaceTime, and AirDrop. That was more difficult to give up when switching from my iPhone 16 Pro to the S25 Ultra. Considering this is a laptop and I use a lot of Google Focus products, that's not a huge thing I'm disappointed in. Feeling around at the actual trackpad differences, they both feel very, very nice. If anything, I feel the MacBooks is a bit more like responsive feeling, and this one has a more smooth feel to it, which again, there's nothing wrong with either one. Let's lock in and complete this setup process. United States, yes. US, yes. Skip. I just typed in my Wi-Fi password password, and a first initial impression, I'm a huge fan of the keyboard. These new laptops come equipped with Snapdragon's X Plus and X Elite processors. And here's why that's important. In the past, they've used both Intel and AMD, which have never resulted in a good outcome. One of the biggest complaints of Windows laptops is poor battery health. But that all changes as Microsoft is making some crazy claims. They're claiming that Copilot PCs are up to 58% faster than the MacBook Air M3 and up to 85% faster than the M2 MacBook Air. And on paper, they wipe out the MacBook when it comes to battery life. But we all know that doesn't really matter. So if you guys would like to see a day in the life with the Surface laptop, let me know down in the comments. It's prompting me to set up my fingerprint sensor, which is something I completely forgot these come with. Oh, it's on the power button. Very similar process to what it would be like setting it up on my Mac. I like how my MacBooks has a ring around it. I think if it didn't tell me where it was, I'd be a little lost on how to set up my fingerprint sensor. Something I literally forgot about is that this laptop is also touchscreen. There's no MacBooks with this capability, so I'm curious if it's something that I actually find myself using or literally something I forget. Initially, I love how crystal clear the display is. Now, the base model, which is what you're currently seeing right now, is currently outputting 1920 by 1280 at 60 Hertz. However, the higher end models do offer a better quality display and refresh rate up to 120 Hertz. A clear indication I'm gonna like this is it already has a very color accurate display. So for things such as color grading and color correction, this is gonna make my life much easier. Next, I wanna cover a topic that puts a huge emphasis on future-proof. Whether you wanna admit it or not, AI will be infused into pretty much all consumer tech fully, in my opinion, within the next 3 years. One thing that Apple absolutely failed on that resulted in the biggest disaster ever was Apple Intelligence. You see, back in October 2024, when they announced Apple Intelligence, it was set to come with crazy expectations. Siri would become actually useful and get a complete new redesign, and we were introduced to things such as proofreading, rewriting, and other basic AI writing tools, as well as Siri getting the integration of ChatGPT. But earlier this year, Apple secretly announced that they were delaying and postponing those Apple Intelligence features. They even took down one of their YouTube videos promoting the new Siri changes without anybody really knowing. I truly believe Microsoft is pulling ahead when it comes to the laptop market. Copilot is well optimized, fully built in, and actually useful. So much so, I literally have an app on my MacBook for it. That's how much I use it. So for this laptop to have a dedicated button in which I can just instantly and quickly access it is something I'm very excited for. I do want to highlight the port selection. So on the left-hand side, we have a USB-A and a headphone jack. And on the right side, we do have two USB-C cables. With this being advertised for students and creatives, I think that's a very generous port selection. At some point down the road, you most likely will find yourself getting a USB-C hub, but I think this is very solid. Something I think is very important to just understand is Windows creates software for the different companies that it goes on, if that makes sense. Apple builds software and products. So Windows 11 could be on Lenovo products, MSI products, Microsoft products. The downside to that is there's less compatibility between devices. Something I'm already finding myself missing is the seamless compatibility between those devices. Being able to have my AirPods in and switch between my iPhone, iPad, and MacBook is a convenience I'm now realizing I'm gonna miss. However, the plus side to an ecosystem like this is it means you have to buy less products. Something Apple just subconsciously markets that a lot of us fall into is buying every single product in the entire line. We think we need an iPad for creativity, and we obviously need an iPhone. Oh, and then an iMac and a MacBook Pro and an iPad Pro, because they all seamlessly work together. We really do fall into that trap. And while there's nothing wrong because Apple really does do such a good job, as confusing as this may sound, what I'm really trying to emphasize is if you pick up a Surface Pro, that not only acts as a laptop, but it also acts as an iPad. So what I feel like Microsoft's Surface lineup does best is eliminate the excessive need for other products. For the final test, I'll be downloading my editing software, which is DaVinci Resolve. I'm currently in the main download portal, and as I'm going down to DaVinci Resolve 19, I'm noticing 4 different options: Mac OS, Linux, Windows, and Windows ARM. This runs on Windows ARM, so it's very important. If you download Windows, it'll run on an emulation, so you're not gonna actually get the most out of your editing software. I currently have my SSD plugged in. I'm going to import a finished project that is actually one of my past YouTube videos just to see how quickly it's able to render. For reference, this video is about 13 minutes and 25 seconds long. It was filmed in 4K and it was also rendered in 4K. Let's go ahead and pull up my stopwatch and start rendering in 3, 2, Do keep in mind, this is the base model Surface laptop, and to be honest, I don't even expect it to do it at a crazy time because it's not really designed for high intensive video editing. But because the challenge is to fully edit this YouTube video on the laptop, I'm just curious to see what can I expect. And done. 19 minutes and 31 seconds. To be honest, that's not terrible. Do keep in mind we are running on best performance, and when we started rendering this project, we were sitting at 44%, and we're now currently sitting at 33%. Finally, loading up Lightroom and importing raw uncompressed files. This is where I've actually found myself utilizing the touchscreen the most. One of the biggest things that I've always loved about utilizing my iPad for editing photos is being able to use my finger or Apple Pencil. And I'm getting a very similar feeling being able to drag different sliders for exposure and contrast. One small complaint I do have is some of the icons look a little bit blurry or fuzzy. Again, not a huge deal breaker. It's just something small that I feel like I'll get used to over time. I would like to plan out a day in the life with this laptop, as that's something I like to plan out to really put this to the test in a real world environment. That said, I hope you went on to enjoy this video. If you did, drop a like, subscribe, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.